My name is Steve. I'm in the Chicago area, and I do small business makeovers. I had owned my own business, several of them. Actually, one I built to a multi-million-dollar business before I messed that one up, and had other successes and failures along the way. I was doing sales. I was a salesperson. I answered an ad in the paper, and the headline of the ad caught my eye. It said, "Too many leads." And I don't know if you've ever been in sales, but that's a headline salespeople never see. They usually see come in and cold call or get your own leads or do some nonsense. So too many leads, I had to find out what that was all about. So drove all the way downtown Chicago, came in and I found out the phone was ringing off the hook. They actually had too many leads because they didn't know how to sell and nobody in the company knew how to close any sales. So they were looking for someone who was an expert in sales, and that was me, and it was a perfect fit. And it was about, I don't know, some time later that I would see in the office of the person that was in charge of all the marketing, I saw on his desk this crazy bobblehead of a grown man in a suit on a bull. And I was like, what's that all about? It's not a football player, it's not a baseball player. I'd never seen a bobblehead like that. I asked him what it's all about, and he said, "That's Dan Kennedy." And my reaction, even though I'd been owning my own businesses and consulting to other businesses for over almost 20 years at that point, my answer was, "Who's that?" And his simple answer was, "How do you think we're getting the phone to ring off the hook? We're using Dan Kennedy marketing methods." And so that was my introduction to Dan. And so without meeting him personally, just seeing a bobblehead, but in my mind I knew right away this guy was a genius at producing leads like no one I'd ever seen, and I had to find out more about it. My wife had a nice six-figure job, which allowed me to continue to be dysfunctional and work sales jobs here or there. Again, things would start and stop, and I was subject to businesses and whatever they were doing, and my consulting on the side wasn't going real well. And then what happened, the big turning point. My wife, her company downsized and knocked out a whole division, and she lost her job. I had to really make something happen quick. So it was enough of the consulting to startups that didn't work. I basically had to get, quote, a real job. And so I went out and I got a job. It was supposed to pay about $60,000 a year to start doing sales for a big corporation, first and last corporation I'll ever work in. But I was able to right away, first year made about double what the average sales rep was making. And then by employing Dan Kennedy marketing methods and sales methods and teaching them to my clients that I was working with as a sales rep. I was working as a sales rep for a Yellow Page publisher, so I was consulting with small business owners, which I love to do. The more I get into Dan Kennedy strategies, the more I could help them, the more I could use them myself. I got up to making 3, 4, 5 times the average income of a sales rep there, and so things were really taking off thanks to Dan Kennedy strategies. See, the beauty of using Dan Kennedy sales and marketing strategies with the career and the job I have, it works. I can use them for myself and I use them for my client. I'm completely my own boss, which means sometimes my boss is still an idiot, but at least it's me being an idiot, and so I'm in control of it, which I like. I have the freedom, and so I've never been afraid of hard work. I love to work. I love to help small business owners, but I also love to goof off and hang out and play with my dog. And now I have I don't get up and in a panic to get to meetings unless I'm meeting with clients that day. And one piece of advice I can give anybody is that, because it's what I give myself all the time, is there's a saying, I don't know who came up with it, but there's no such thing as failure. Anything doesn't work, we just call that a test. So it allows ourselves to try something, and if it didn't work, that was just a test. It didn't work, so try more stuff, test more stuff, because you can have 10 failures that each cost you $100 a piece, and so you're down $1,000, and then that 11th one hits and you make 50 or 100,000 from it. So make sure you test a lot of stuff, but test it so that your losses are small, but when you hit that big one, you hit it big time. So you just got to do something. You got to suspend your disbelief and your need for perfectionism and just take some kind of action. I still have to tell myself that all the time. My name is Steve Sipress, and I run the local Dan Kennedy chapter for the Chicago area.